got about 32 seconds.
I'm ready. Got it right here.
Oh, are we usually slow and methodic? I'll be hurrying you up. So,
Yes, I'm going to.
oh, yeah.
So,
This is going to call an audible. We're going to try to start doing No. Truth and taxation. I have been corrected.
Nice try, Marcel.
All right. This evening, though, before we call to order, we'll be doing truth and taxation. Julie, take it away.
all right. If you want to share the slideshow, please, without the notes, it'd be great.
1 second. Nope.
I think you just hit the. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to get it off the.
All right, tonight's public hearing will be for the 2025-6 budget and proposed 2026 property taxes.
Sorry, it's coming.
All right, next slide. Oops, one back.
Wow. There we go.
There we go. Our agenda tonight, we're going to have a little background information on school funding, our district budget, our proposed tax levy for payable 2026, and then by law, we will have public comments. Next slide. A public meeting by statute is between November 25th and December 30th. It has to be at 6 p.m. or later. It may be part of the regular scheduled meeting, but does have to happen first. We must allow for public comments, and we may adopt the final levy at the same meeting. It does have to be adopted by December 30th. We will have a presentation of our current year budget and also the proposed property tax levy. So why do we have the Truth and Taxation meeting? You can go to the next slide. The Truth and Taxation Law was passed in 1989, and there are two major requirements. One is that the counties send out the tax statements to all property tax holders. And the second, that there is a public hearing for all taxing jurisdictions going over the payable 2025 levy, or whatever year we're in, of course, the fiscal year budget, and that we allow for public comments. And this is our school district's annual required hearing. One thing to remember tonight, and I will mention this a couple times, is that as we're talking through this slideshow, we will be talking about different budgets, different years, FY25, FY26, FY27. And I will show a little graph that talks about the different things that do happen in those different years. Go ahead. Oh, you did already, sorry. So who sets a school district levy? Well, the components of a district levy are set by either state formula by legislature, by voter approved, but as authorized by state. There is a difference for public schools. So public schools, the counties, the city, townships, they all can set levies. The difference for public schools is that we have a limited authority compared to those other taxing jurisdictions. Those other governing boards have more freedom to make taxing decisions, but the school and the school board is limited in decision making, and voter approval is required for some of the funding. So how is my property tax determined? Well, the county assessor determines the market value for each parcel of property. Then the legislature sets the formulas for the tax capacity. Those formulas determine how the tax burden is split on all the different types of property, maybe residential, commercial, ag. The county auditor then calculates that tax capacity for each parcel based on the above, and then the auditor divides that total levy by those tax capacities and sends out everybody their tax statement to tell them how much they owe. Certain levies are spread based on market value rather than the tax capacity. Next slide. The one thing to note, the general education formula allowance, that is something that we use. We get all of our state aid based on a certain dollar amount. So for 2003 to 2026, the general education revenue formula has not kept up with inflation. Had this allowance increased by the rate of inflation, Since 2003, our 2026 allowance per pupil would be $8,951. The next slide will show you the difference of where it is at now. For fiscal 24-25, and I am sorry I have a misprint there, that is 2%. The year before was 4%. 24-25, an increase of 2%. For fiscal year 25-26, an increase, it says 3%, it was 2.74%. But when they do these slides, some of them, they like to just round up. But I like to be exact, and it's 2.74%. We did not get 3%. Next slide. So this here shows the graph. Now the difference between the blue line and the orange dotted line is what our funding is trailing if it would have kept up with inflation. So had it kept up with inflation, like I said, it was that $8,000 number, but we're at $7,000, $7,481. And you can see that gap. How do you fill that gap? What do we use to fill that gap? Well, we can raise levies, we can get donations, we can get grants, different, federal dollars are dropping, but or we can somehow cut the amount of expenditures that we have to fill that gap. This is a struggle that all school districts have in our area. This here shows the difference between school and non-school payable 1992 to 2026. And this just shows our school district, which is the blue line, versus a non-school local government, your city, your county, your township, and how the authorities they have. So you can see that difference that I was talking about. Next slide. One thing I want to mention this year is the underfunding of special education. Since actually FY23, the cost of providing programs for special educations were majorly underfunded by about $726 million right now. With even more recent funding cuts, by 2027, we're looking at another $455 million statewide. So what do we do about that? What do school districts do about that? Well, the primary options are to bridge that funding gap. Do we cut regular education programs? Do we increase our referendum revenue and go out there and tax our property taxpayers more? Or do we do both? And as you can tell by the recent elections, a lot of school districts are going out for those increased operating referendums, and they're doing both. Next page. So now we get a little bit into the 24-25 actual and the 25-26 adopted budget. Next page. This is going to show just our revenues. Now, tonight I'm going to talk about our revised budget. So this is going off of our adopted budget. And you can see our percentage change from our actual audited year end to our adopted budget. One reminder is we have to, by state statute, set our budget in June because we cannot do business in July unless the board has adopted a budget. That is really early. All school districts are under the same mandate, but that's really early. So that's why we're trying here at La Crescent to do 2 revisions during the year, an earlier revision to try to get, okay, where are we at right now? And then a later revision to try to really hone in on, okay, let's get it as tight as we can before the end of the year. So at our adopted budget, we look to be spending about 0.15% more in general funds. Food service went down a little bit. Community service went down a little bit. Building construction, you're going to see 100% change because we were going to spend all of the dollars we were going to spend all the dollars we got in last year, and we were not going to bring any more revenue in. Now we will see something different on our revised, but that's what our adopted showed. Our OPEB went down. We spent some money there, and then our other, which is an activity, like activities would be another, and our debt service went up a little bit. Next page. This shows a graph of a comparison of how what revenues we get in. So you can see our largest portion is the blue, the general fund, and from actual to adopted, it's about the same, 74% to 74%. And then you can see our next one is going to be our our debt fund, Fund 7, and then food service and so on down. Next page. This shows revenue by source. So this is how we get our money in. Our biggest chunk of the pie is the state sources. If something changes with the state legislature, they go down, they don't give us the 2%, they don't give us the 3%, they mandate some of our money they give us in. This really affects our school because that's our largest chunk that we get in. Our levy is the next. Our federal is just so minimal right now. And then other local sources rounded out. Next page. This is our expenditures from actual to budget. So you can see our budgeted general fund went up just a little over 1%, food service up 12%, community service down about 10%, construction projects down 100% because we're going to have spent all of our money out of there again, like I talked on the previous slide. Other, which is your activities, is about 39% down. That's an in and out, so that number is very fluid. And then OPEB and then debt service, again, both fluid accounts. Next page. This shows our comparison by fund on how we spend. So the general fund, of course, being the biggest piece of the pie, on down to the food service, construction projects, and OPEB. You can see that in 24-25, we spent some more in construction versus what our 26 is going to look like. Next slide. This year shows our levy cycles. We talked about all the different years. So I'm working in levy cycles in 25 or FY26 and FY27. Talking about our budget cycles of FY25, 26, and 27 because we're always forward thinking and we're also looking back at what we did in the past. Our school year, of course, runs July 1st through June 30th. And then our audit, thank you, December 30th will be the end of that. And I can fully get into FY26, runs from FY25 into FY26 because we're working on FY25's audit in FY26. Next page. So we're going to talk about property classifications and value next. Property tax background, we talked a little bit about this already. You know, each taxing jurisdiction sets their own levy. The county sends out the bills, and the state of Minnesota limits what we can set as our levy. Next page. This is a sample from the MDE website of what a property tax bill might look like. And so step 1 happened last spring. Step 2 is what's happening right now. And step 3 is what's going to happen next spring. If you have any concerns over your tax statement, you can go to the county and ask them if it's your value you want to ask about. Please, if you have any questions, let me know individually too, and I will look into it for you. I might have to get the help of the county, but I'm more than willing to help you also. Next page. Now, just because there is a change to our tax levy, that does not directly mean there's going to be a change to our budget revenue. Because of student wealth by property district, if we receive more levy money, that means our state aid has gone down. If we receive more state aid money, that means our levy has gone down. So just because our levy goes up doesn't mean, oh, we're getting more money. It just means our state aid went down, and that's a sad thing because that put more of the burden on our property taxpayers. You don't really see the opposite, but just to make sure that we talk about that, just because our levy may go up or our levy may go down doesn't mean our dollars change. Our state equalization formula, I talked about that a little bit, property valuation divided by student. That formula provides more state aid to districts with less property wealth per student. So the other part of that is more students in your district equals less property wealth. Less students in your district, more property wealth, you're going to pay more taxes. Next page. One thing, active school credit, we don't have as much here as other rural schools. That was a permanent law that was enacted in 2017. It affects all existing Fund 7 debt levies. It is a reduction for farmers and timber owners. It was scaled to 70% in 2025. It's not going away that we know of. It's there to stay. As far as we know, it's a real help. And what that means is that we can set levies, but part of the farmers and timber owners are not going to pay that tax levy on part of their land. The state is actually going to pay it. So say they would have maybe paid $30,000, let's say. Well, I'm going to show you later how much the state actually pays for that. It's a break for farmers and timber owners. Next page. On your statement, you should be able to look and you should be able to see that. If you are an ag land owner and you don't see that, please go to your county and ask them why it's not there. Next page. Our effective tax rates for 2025, we've got farm at 0.41 all the way down to commercial industrial at 2.9. The next two slides are important in the fact that, these are statewide averages, and that we want to note that the farmland is among the lowest, and commercial industrial is among the highest. So in general, the general farmland is getting a break, and again, that's due to the ag to school credit on the value of their property. So if we go to the next slide, we will see that the share then, so there's 20% on average of farmland, but they're paying 6.8% of the taxes. If I look at commercial and industrial, they only have an 11.4% share of the market, but they're paying 26.2% of the taxes. So that just kind of shows how it doesn't always equal out in the way that we think it should equal out, but that's the way the state has set it. Next slide. Our fund accounting overview, we actually just talked about this a little bit before the meeting. We have different funds. Fund 1 is for our general fund, all costs that are going to be for all of our staff salaries, our administrative costs, textbooks, equipments, anything that's going into a child's education. Fund 2 is our food service fund. That's going to be anything that goes into feeding our students, our lunch programs, our breakfast program. Fund 4, our community service fund, goes into anything early learning, our preschool programs, our before and after schools, our community education programs. That's what the Fund 4 is for. Building construction, anything to do with new building or something that we're going to construct here on our land. Fund 7, debt service, is when we get those monies to be able to have new construction, we have to pay those bonds back. That runs through our debt service fund. And then there's other variable funds that you could have too. There's stars on the general fund, community service, and debt levies or debt service fund, because those are ones that have a tax levy component. Next page. So what could be a possible reason for changes to your parcel? Well, maybe your parcel, there's a change in value, or maybe there was a change in classification. Maybe it went from homestead or from rental to now a commercial property. There could be a change in enrollment numbers. Did our enrollment go up? Did it go down? There could be a change in valuation of property in the whole district. That's where the equalization aid comes in. More aid, less levy, more levy, less aid. Maybe local decisions and requirements, adjustments for prior years, any type of state changes, property improvements on your property that maybe weren't previously taxed, abatements, and then, of course, any inflationary pressures on the market. Next page. This is our proposed pay 26 levy for La Crescent-Coca Public School. We are looking for a total of for 2025, pay 2026, about 5.2 million. Now, for general fund, that's an increase of about 6.6. Community education, a decrease of 72%. Don't be alarmed by that. That's just different programs that we can do or we can't do within our community education program. Does not necessarily mean less money. It just means that that's the way the levy and the state aid is flowing. General debt service, about 1% higher. Again, those ebb and flow. So a total increase of 2.33%. As I promised, our ag to school credit is $182,482. Again, we don't have as much ag land as other schools in our area. This is my 4th presentation I've done. I've helped out on a couple presentations, and their numbers are 500,000, 600,000, 700,000. So ours is low, and we know that. Next page is what we're going to ask then the school board during their regular meeting to approve, and that again is the almost $2 million for the proposed tax levy. 2.5 will go to the general fund, 26.9 thousand will go to community service, and about 2.7 million will go to the debt service to pay back our bonds. If you would like more information, you can go to the next page. If you would like more information, you can call the state of Minnesota for any type of property tax relief. We are blessed to have 2 counties here with Winona and Houston. Those are those numbers. And then, of course, school district contract is our superintendent, Wally Genevico. So, and you can also contact me too, Julie Grant. I don't have my phone number on there, but anybody wants it here after the meeting, just let me know. Or if you want any information, please give me your number, and I will for sure help you out. The next page is questions. Again, per the law for our meeting, we do have to let you have any type of questions that you have. And I just want to thank you then for also listening and attending this hearing.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay, Mr. Welper?
All right. Thank you, Julie. Back to normal. Call to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and our guest roll call guy tonight is Eric Morgan.
Darcy Cody.
Here.
Nicole Miller. Not here. Danielle.
Here.
Brandon.
Here.
Paige.
Here.
Wade.
Here.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. All right, agenda adjustments approval, the addition for employment of Teresa Coogan. So I think we'll just need a motion and a vote to move that to action item, or to consent agenda. Motion's been made and seconded to move the additional employment of Teresa Coogan to the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll proceed to vote on the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That gets moved to the consent agenda. All right. Any announcements? That's a hard no. Moving on. Community input. Any community input? We're good there? All right. Student board member report. Now, is it Simona?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Would you like to talk?
Yes.
Take it away.
Okay. My name is Simona Moan. I'm in 12th grade, and in the school, I'm involved in student council, FCCLA, FCA, Rotary Interact, and theater. And okay, so for the report, this past weekend we had our band concerts, so that was really fun. And then our winter sports have officially been in full swing, and as well as our winter activities have started. Today, a lot of students were talking about ski and snowboard. It was the first night tonight, and our theater programs have been in full swing too, with one act and the show starting soon. And students are really looking forward to the winter activity day. It's gonna be really fun, and of course, winter break. And on Monday we had an AI talk in Flex, like basically explaining like when you can use AI, it's a green light, and then when you can for a little, it's a yellow light, and then when you can't, it's a red light. And I think it's been really helpful, just like really clear for all the teachers. So yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? That was a darn fine update. Well done. Thank you.
And you don't have to stay for the rest. You get to go.
Yeah, you get to go. Yeah.
Unless you really want to.
You can hang out though. There's cookies around here somewhere. All right,
Right here.
there we go. Board member reports. Darcy, do you have anything?
I went to the district-wide staff development meeting. That was good. They're always working hard. I encourage you guys, we all get their updates that she sends out to read those. Those are great. I did have to leave early on oversight. You guys were plugging away at it when I left. I have been in contact with Terry Donovan as well as Jacob, the Booster Club, and the 300 Foundation. Just trying to find ways to make sure that all kids who want to attend our games are here and not turned away. So we're just trying to find solutions to that. That's about it.
Thank you.
Nothing to report.
Dan?
Same.
Okay. Brandon?
Nothing.
Paige? Nothing for me. I know we have our MSBA convention though next month. I think that's always a very interesting time. Most interesting talking to the other districts and what they're doing and ideas we can hopefully steal. So that should be a good time for us. All right, administrative reports. Jacob, high school principal, take it away.
Absolutely. So we're heading into the end of the semester. We actually only have 9 days after winter break, which is typically you have double digits. So this is rare that we have that short of a time afterwards. So you start to see a renewed sense of urgency in a few students, which about credit recovery, we do offer two options. One is the traditional summer school, the other is what we call extended day. We've been lucky, we actually have seen pretty big decline in failures over the last few years. So we're down to, you typically get a student who will fail multiple. But in terms of actual students failing courses, we are in the teens right now. So it's a pretty low number, which is really nice to see. Simona mentioned a little bit about our AI policy that went out to families and students on Friday. And then we took some intentional time on Monday, both in Flex and some of the other classes to talk about it. I did list the full details in that board report, but she summed it up pretty well. Red light means don't touch AI. If you do, it's cheating. Yellow light, you can use it for very specific individual tasks, but not other things. And then green, you can go nuts and use AI for whatever you want. Reason for this, it is addressed in the handbook, but it's a very brief little snippet. It essentially says AI could be considered cheating. Well, that's not super helpful. That's all it says. So we wanted to flush that out. AI is actually the number one item that the businesses that we talk to, they want their employers to know how to use. It has actually surpassed the ability to work with a colleague, which was the former number one for an extended period of time. So that is the number one skill that they are looking for right now, is the appropriate and ethical use of AI. So that is where we're going to start putting in a little more time and focus. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how things evolve over the next few years, but we expect that to be a constantly changing piece. But yeah, that was as shocking to me as it is for some of you, as far as that's the number one skill they're looking for. Again, it's for the last 15, 20 years, it's been working in a collective group. So it's an interesting shift. The other procedure that'll be going out either very end of this week or early next week is we have a new one for our parking lots. We've had a bunch of minor issues, but as we've seen in the news, parking lots are becoming a bigger deal, making sure that they are safe. We can track, okay, that vehicle's been there for 2 days. Why is it there? Who does it belong to? Those types of pieces. Right now, we have zero way to connect a person to a vehicle aside from calling the police. So we need something that's a little more efficient than that. So that's kind of what's driving the parking lots. It will be everyone will get a parking pass. It will be free of charge to students, assuming that they're driving appropriately and parking appropriately. There will be zero cost in that period. So it is merely, we need to know that car is connected to this person. So you'll get information about that once we're ready to roll it out. Staffing, we did interviews for Spanish position last week. I hope to be able to share information about what we're doing moving forward. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe Friday, but that'll go out to families who have a Spanish student or a student in a Spanish class. There we go. Then the other one is school social.
I'll update.
School social worker, we are interviewing tomorrow. So we have 2 applicants. Hopefully one of them would be the right fit to be a Lancer. Have a few dates in there for, this is a very busy time of year. So you can see some of those dates there. But then for our spotlight, I wanted to share a little bit about the Lancer Locker. I believe that most of you know about it, but I'm not entirely sure. This is something we started a few years ago. It is something we built in conjunction with some of the churches in town and our local food shelf. So Susan Hodson was a huge help in kind of putting this together. And it's essentially a on-site food shelf for our students to use. There was a need that we recognized that there were a fair number of students who were food insecure. So we wanted to provide a way so that they could help out and get the resources that they needed. So it's housed in one of our classrooms here. It is opened 2 days a week, otherwise by appointment. So any kid comes down or goes to any teacher and says, hey, we don't have any food to eat tonight, can I grab something? Absolutely, we'll take them down there. We've also expanded it now to include hygiene products and some clothing items as well. So anything that's in lost and found that is in good condition, we wash, it goes into the Lancer Locker, and it's available for anyone to come and pick up if they need it. So it's a great thing. Thank you to Kate Madison. She has kind of, over the last year, taken over running that. We get a new social worker that'll be a part of their duties as well.
Great. Jake, does the new AI guidelines, are those put into the current handbook then?
They are not in the handbook because the board is the only one who did not update the handbook. So this would just be a building procedure.
It was awesome, took that intentional time to reiterate that.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again at semester. So when they switch to new classes, here's what a green light looks like in my class, here's what a yellow light looks like in my class, here's what a red light looks like. Common language across the board. I was actually doing an observation today, and there's teachers that are going on a project, and the student raised her hand and said, "Is this a red, yellow, or green?" That's like, okay, you're getting at it. That's great. So, yeah, that was really neat to see. And like Simone mentioned, I think the students value the clarity. You know, yes, I can use it. Also, send it out to families so that hey, your kid comes home and you see him going to, you know, ChatGPT or whatever other AI. What color is that assignment supposed to be?
What tools do you guys use to detect AI?
None of them work.
What's that?
None of them work.
So, how can you enforce it?
I mean, it's a piece of, we're trying to create the ethical use, right? But when it comes to, there's certain things, like especially in Google Doc, which is where we're a Google school, a lot of our stuff is done there. If you see a massive chunk that gets cut and pasted in, that's a pretty big hit.
And the teachers are expected to.
If
do
they
that
suspect,
analysis.
then they go and look.
Okay.
Yep. But we've also changed up some of the things that we do as far as, you know, we're not gonna give you a 5-paragraph essay to take home and write completely. Because you can use ChatGPT to write it, you can transfer it into one of several apps, you can drop a sample of your own writing in, it will take it and actually make the same mistakes that you make in your writing. You know, if you're somebody who typically overuses commas, right,
That seemed really handy.
right, but I mean, if you're someone that overuses commas, it will change what it wrote in AI and overuse commas. I mean, if you are someone who typically uses certain words, you don't capitalize, it will do that and make the same mistakes you make. There's other ones you can go in and put, I mean, 10th grader, I typically get a B- on my writing assignments. Here's the prompt, and then we'll write a B- level. Yeah. So none of the AI detectors work. Yeah, it's a very, very different one.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Jacob. Heather?
Yes, I again will highlight our Breakfast of Champions. We had a 100% turnout with parents and kids. It was, again, one of my favorite days of the month. And along the same lines with PBIS that I did not include in the report is just our PBIS team this year had a goal of establishing reteaching moments after breaks. So we will again be reteaching PBIS expectations in all aspects of the school right after winter break. And then also just highlighting the choir and band concerts took place on Sunday, December 7th. Thanking Mr. Hanson and his crew for just amazing. It was so much fun. And just to see that progression from 5th to 8th grade is just something else. Like the squeaks and the, you know, those little things that happen in 5th and 6th grade. But what's really fun for me is watching the 6th graders, like when it was them last year with the 5th grades. You have to like remember that was you. They did a great job though, being pretty good listeners. Just a couple of redirections back there that maybe Mr. Hanson didn't hear, but it was all fine. They did a great job. But really great to see that 8th grade crew just kind of, you know, they 7th and 8th grade just really nailed it. And one of the other highlights for me is watching the students and listening to the students introduce their musical piece. So it's not just about the performance, it's also them getting in front of folks, and for some of them it was tough, and they pulled through and they did a great job. So thank you to Mr. Hanson and the whole music department for that. Then also, I guess, I realized, and I said to a few board members before, it feels like we just met, but that's because we had such a Thanksgiving break was off, and I was like, what did we do? And I know that I told you in the last board meeting that Newsies Juniors was coming up, and our directors here, and I thought I'd bring it back to, they did an awesome job with that many students. Brittany has done a great job with our theater and really trying to get the most kids involved as she can. They had a great performance for the school, and the elementary came over to enjoy that as well. So that was, hats off to Ms. McGuire and her team that make that all go so smoothly. We finished up our first round. I fortunately, whatever you want to say it, with those last minute resignations that we had in August, added some additional observations and evaluations on my part. So I just really finished those up last week for the first round. But I'm seeing lots of really great engaging things, whether it's in or out of the classroom. I think it's important to always share that. Of course, we're still working on it in some areas, but at the same time, I think those traditional sit and get classes, if you will, our younger grades especially, really trying to apply math, for example, into real world and make it more active learning as opposed to sit and take notes or whatever, working with partners, etc. So that's really fun. I think it's important for you to know that. Also, I brought it up before, but what I need time for our 5th and 6th grade sections this year, it's really getting there. They're really doing an excellent job. I'm going in, oh, yep, this is that time, and kids are just where they're supposed to be now. It takes a little bit. It was a new schedule, a new way, and the kids are really getting it, and so are the staff as well. So again, we'll see. We are constantly analyzing the data to see how that's working, to making sure that targeted intervention is helping. And I'm hearing positive things, but our school-wide winter Bass Bridge assessment for that winter kind of progress monitoring check is in January, as I told you last time, I believe. And then we did a staff of the week. Mr. Lurkey was chosen from the district-wide. Basically, and last night there was the conservation crew and a bunch of parents and a bunch of 6th graders were making birdhouses. And I heard them down the hallway, and I popped in, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was craziness, but it was so cool and so fun and energy. And I talked to Travis for about 30 seconds because he's like, I got to get back to the tools, and he's just doing a great job with that piece as well. Also, I don't know if you're all aware, we do after school support in 5th and 6th grade through Lancer Lane, really targeting some kids that really need that extra help after school as well, that we work in partnership with Targeted Services with that Winona partnership that we have. So he can't help himself. Him and Nicole Logstead are kind of the two. She loves doing the summer program, and they just do a really nice job. And the team, if they have other meetings, because Travis is involved in a lot of different committees at the district level and the building. And so the other team members just step in when he needs to attend one of those other things. They just do a great job with that. And then today, actually, I didn't have this included either, but Patty Gerhold was Staff Member of the Month, nominated by Kristen Chose, just for all of the difference that she makes, and her she's got it down in the classroom for what the routine is, what the expectations are, and her relationships with students was brought up today as well. We are middle school, and I don't know, it seems like one week it's a full moon, that's harvest moon, and then it's Thanksgiving, and I don't know what happened yesterday, and then now we have bowling upon us. It was really great. That was 1.5 weeks. And I said, how about we do bowling on Monday? And everybody was like, sure. But now everybody's fighting over who has the afternoon, I think, to go bowling. But either way, they're excited. It's a part of that celebration of learning their skills and taking them out into the public. And so they're looking forward to that. And again, a Lancer Way program that we do typically during advisory is going to be held on Tuesday morning, just celebrating our students of the month, our Rising Lancers, as well as Minnesota Nice, and they do Minute to Win It, and the kids have just done a great job with that this year too, and cheering each other on again. It's always great to see that and to celebrate how well they're doing. But other than that, again, it's like I think my parent communication this week, last week, pointed out just some things that have come into the middle school a little more in regards to social media. That typically, even though we don't have phones, I really highlighted that in my Lancer update to families because I found some pretty significant pieces over the course of the last month, which is maybe why I felt like, what did we just do? Didn't we just meet when I was preparing the board report? But I do feel like that has taken up a little more time to get to the bottom of some of those things that are happening off school grounds that are now carried in. So just for your awareness and gave parents some talking points with their children to start that conversation. Just even predators on Roblox or some of those other like video games that they're on, people seep into those, and just making sure that they're aware that it's there, it's happening, and just to be having those conversations at home like I'm having at school. So.
And social media is the topic of our mental health day that's coming up
Yes.
February, right?
Yep.
February 25th is the school, the community will be the night before.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Is middle school included in that, or just sort of?
Fifth
Was
through,
elementary.
yep, and elementary.
Awesome.
The 5th through 8th, yep, like last year, the topic was a little heavy, so we made it more about emotions and chemical emotions for the 5th and 6th. But this year, we're gonna be choosing tomorrow morning kind of what the path is going to be for that piece. So I think it was all timely, let's give us a heads up, and giving parents an opportunity to come to that community night will be important for us to share as well.
Yeah, I love that.
Darcy
do
just
that.
Hey, it was mine too. Any questions for me?
All right, thank you. Jeff, you're up.
All right. A lot of positive community engagement that you'll see kind of below the nuts and bolts, but I want to keep kind of in the forefront the important work that's happening in subcommittees to further our literacy improvements of our teaching and learning in our school. So there's some jargon in here, so forewarned that you'll see, some four-letter acronyms and things like that. But it's important work. Our teachers are engaged in it. The observations I've done in the classroom, I'm seeing incorporation of science of reading instruction, and we're looking very much forward to bringing some positive data from that to you after our winter screening. What I can share with you in terms of data is in the, we talk about student behavior, and you'll see that in a report coming up. During our structured win times, what I need times, where there's differentiated groups that are happening, we have 0 behavior referrals when students are getting instruction at their proximal level. So that is something that I wanted to bring to your attention. That's a very much of a positive. The behaviors that we are seeing are during some unstructured times, waiting in line, kids that are working on their skills of patience and keeping their hands to themselves, if I kind of just generalize what our behaviors are. So that was something that one of our teacher leaders presented to our staff. So we're going to do some reteaching when we come back in January and try and incentivize the good things that are happening so that the kids can earn positives, and that the teachers are going to be re-teaching those expectations when we come back in January. More, literacy information for you to digest. There are a couple important subcommittees that are happening and have already happened to further the framework for MTSS in our building, and that work is still ongoing. We actually canceled one of our leadership meetings because there was another important district-wide meeting that happened today, but we are continuing that work, and there's a subcommittee that's working on discerning which best English language arts curriculum is highly aligned to state standards and science of reading, that the teachers will come to the conclusion and bring a recommendation to you this spring. So that work is happening, and our plan is that will be aligned with some reimbursable funds from the state of Minnesota as well, because there are some parameters that they put on that as well. I want to highlight, we've got some first grade teachers. Half of our first grade team is here tonight. They do a great job of bringing parents into our building, and that's what we're all about, is those positive community connections. So huge thank you to their PLC leader, Carly, and Daryl Ann is here as well. So there's probably a picture of them hosting the family fall feast. That it's last month now, but it was after the last board report. Great parent engagement happening even today. I got a snippet of gingerbread house making in the gymnasium. They do that in kindergarten as well, but this is the fall feast. And so there's some really positive things happening that bring many parents into our buildings. So thank you, first grade team. Kudos to you. As Heather mentioned, the eighth graders came to visit us, and you could really see the positive connections happening. They brought their favorite storybook, spent time with the kindergartners. Just a really fun time to watch that happening. And I think it's fun for the teachers to see these older kids come back when they're all grown up and they embrace that leadership role. And the kids really enjoy spending time with them kind of one-on-one. They're lining the hallways, they're in the classrooms doing structured activities. So we're really appreciative of that connection. So thank you, eighth grade team, as well as the middle school. Kudos to Brittany McGuire. I'm kind of a theater guy myself. I wanted to highlight this. Our students really step up their concert etiquette and behavior when they go to this beautiful theater space we have. So it's really rewarding to see kids that grow up on that stage too. And there's introverts that become extroverts, and there's just they blossom on that stage. So I want to throw kind of a high five to Brittany McGuire as a theater guy myself. It's been a really cool thing for our kids to enjoy that. So thank you again for providing and inviting us to your theater. This is an incentive. We keep kids kind of on site, but give them a little bit of popcorn, show them a little bit of a movie when they earn their goal of 10,000 Lancer shields. So that's one of the ways we incentivize positive behavior, give them a little bit of reward. So we do that in-house, and it's kind of a new thing that we're trying. So huge thank you to Emily Sebo, who's here tonight, because she helps organize the PBIS incentives and is a strong leader of that team. And I think, is there more? Yes, I wanted to include the communication that's going out in the form of monthly newsletters that are happening from our building, my biweekly communication to parents and families, and also from our school counselors. So those are linked there so that you can be in the loop in case you don't have kids at the elementary.
Thanks, those were great. I like your counselors that.
Yes.
Any questions for Jeff?
More communication coming. That's fun.
Okay. Beth.
We've been busy. Community Ed has been hopping this fall with lots of adult enrichment class. So speaking of bringing people into the buildings, we've got class happening tonight down the hall. We had to actually add a second section of the French macarons using the Swiss method tonight. So that's happening down the hall. We can maybe go taste test after we're done with this meeting. Yeah, I plan on stopping by. So we've had a lot of really good response, and it's wonderful to get our community members into our buildings and seeing them. And thank you to our instructors who we keep finding new ones, and it's just been a really wonderful season of classes. I did want to give a shout out to Jody Halverson, our operations coordinator. She put together a new program that was called Protect Yourself from Community Scam and Fraud Awareness. And she partnered with our local law enforcement and Ultra Federal Credit Union. Only had 15 people there, but we hope to see this one keep growing, whether we do it every other year or annually. We just keep, every time we turn around, there's somebody that's saying, hey, I really wish you'd offer a class on this because either I fell for a scam or somebody else fell for a scam that they know. So that's been something that's been a unique ad this year. And even though we are currently in full swing production with the next catalog, we still have classes coming up in January. Our fall catalog covers October through January. So in January, we have Steve Mao's virtual series, Planning for the End, which has been quite popular over the last 3 years. And our fitness classes are up and running. We have Senora Peterson coming back to us to teach for adults. So that's exciting. And one informational item I wanted to share is about when we have emergency closings for Kids Company. A lot of other school districts have, on their announcements, childcare open or open for this many hours. We are so heavily reliant on college students for our staffing. So our 6:30 to 8 a.m. morning crew, they can work that time, but if we're 2 hours late, colleges typically aren't. So then all of a sudden I have no staff that are able to work. And we've also, when we've tried this in the past, we also used to get bombarded with people that were not actually registered for Kids Company, which was also quite a problem because we had no idea who the kids were and, all the things. So just kind of as an FYI, also a lot of programs, a lot of other places in our area do have actual certified daycare centers on site with full-time staff available as well. So that was a question we got, and I did communicate that out with our kids' company families. So in case you've been getting questions, I wanted you to have that answered. And then keep scrolling. Last but not least, our early childhood coordinator, parent educator Carter Schwartzoff, who's sitting behind me, was featured in this month's Cooley Region Women magazine. Bonnie Martin, a local resident and former early childhood family ed participant, wrote this wonderful article about a sisterhood of moms through our ECFE program. So I put the screenshot in there because, our school blocks the clicking to go to the magazine. So you have to do it when you're not at school if you want to read the whole article in tiny print. Yeah. Yeah, right. I don't know. I can't explain it. So, questions for me?
Okay, all right. Pat?
So we got a couple things. The fine arts storefront doors are finished. They were finished this afternoon. You get a chance, they look really, really good compared to what they've looked like for the last 3 weeks. But yeah, the holes in the tile are all covered with the threshold, the door sweeps are installed, so it's finished product. This was last Friday before I spoke with Weezer Brothers, but there's a bathroom update. We have a meeting tomorrow scheduled to go over the engineered plans. It's basically to go over before we give them the approval to send them off to the state for the permits. And then a staffing update. We lost a part-timer last Tuesday. She resigned. And then what's not on there is at the elementary, the fence on the north side just to the east of the playground has been installed. It's got 2 gates.
So we have them contained now. Yep. Okay. That's good news. All right.
What's
I'm
the
gonna
average?
Yes.
add that some people in our community have been working through Karn to help us with the funding, and if we're able to continue with donations, the last piece that's not fenced in would be on the southwest corner. If you think about driving into our parking lot, there's just the one strip between the southwest corner and then where the teachers park. That's open. And if we can get to that point, we would close that piece in, and that would be the last piece. But the most pressing areas, in my opinion, from a safety perspective, now have been taken care of. So that's been nice. So.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions for Pat? Terry?
Yes, we've started our winter season well underway. Our wrestling team is off to a really good start, especially as this program is built over the last couple of years. And we were over at La Crosse Logan on Saturday and had some really good individual finishes there. Our girls team is competing really great as well. They're going to Owatonna this weekend or on Friday. We are hosting a girls wrestling tournament here. So as that sport is building and ramping up, we're going to kind of be at the forefront of some of that this year. It might not be the biggest tournament that there is, but as we go forward, we want to be one of them right after the holidays, that we have a place for these girls to come there. And we think this is going to be a big stepping stone for that. Our hockey team won a wild one last night. You should have been announcing that one, Eric. 7-6. Austin had pulled their goalie for the last 7 minutes of the game. Yeah, it was a crazy one. We were up 6-2 at one time, and ended up winning 7-6. So a big win there. Our both boys basketball team right now is still looking for their first win. Hopefully we get one tomorrow night. They just had a brutal start to the schedule that we were finishing up on a couple of contracts of back and forth that we're going to try to, with Coach Wench, try to get our schedule right at the beginning of next year. It's going to be, it's a lot different. December's just been a tough start with the schedule wise for both the boys and girls, and we look for big things on both of them in January. And if you've been out to watch the girls, our girls play super hard. Really proud of what they're doing. And I think, you know, they started the year with a nice win over a bigger school in Casson, who's twice our enrollment, and I'm looking for them to really turn the corner here in January too, as well there. The girls' tournament, like I said, robotics will be starting at the Saturday after the new year. They get each year they get a game, so they don't know what it's going to be this year until this comes out. Their league puts out what the actual event will look like, and then the kids have to build to that. So right after the first of the year, I'll come in and watch with them what the game will be, and then they'll sit there for the rest of the day and try to brainstorm how they're going to build it. It's really kind of a cool process because as of right now, they have no idea what the event will even look like, and then they have to take that from nothing and build the robot and everything else. It's really a cool process and to watch them put it all together, and then the wins and the failures along the way as they're building their robot of how they have to make it work. When we will have this year a scrimmage here. I'll make sure everybody knows that it would be something if you haven't been, and we have a meet over in La Crosse. If you haven't been to one, it's like a carnival when you go there and all the lights. It's really an awesome event, and the kids do an awesome job. We have our band. Our band played at Eric Chapman had the band play on Friday night. There again this Friday, and sometimes it's a little overwhelming with how loud it is in there. So he's changed that up a little bit, and it's a little bit smaller group of played, and it was perfect. And then we got to have some Christmas music and some other things. Our bands with Jordan and Eric do such a great job with them, and they were absolutely fantastic there. And then we had a couple sports that we're evaluating on the feasibility because we do know that obviously we're a little budget strung with things, but there is a big group that's looking for dance, so we're kind of going through a process of what that would look like to get a dance team here. There's actually quite a bit of support at the younger levels, and we're just kind of getting through evaluating how other teams do it and what kind of cost there is. Flag football is another one that eventually I was on a meeting with the Vikings yesterday. In 2 years, that's going to probably be a sanctioned sport, and we are actually as one of the schools that is really in tight with the Vikings and the MSHSL helping this thing grow. And then the last one is girls wrestling as a standalone sport, which is a very minimal impact financially, but it's going to have its own standalone tournament. For us, we're pretty much there. There is a little bit of an impact financially, but we're kind of going through there. And obviously, as we get closer, we'll have to look at what we can do financially on all three of those sports. And then I just have on there our upcoming home events.
Will the band be playing at hockey again this year?
They will play. The drum line will go at some point. He has not confirmed when that will be, but he will have the drum line down there, which they had a couple times last year. And that's fun there.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime the band's at any sporting event, it makes it better. So,
Questions for Terry? Okay, Jordan.
Actually,
I skipped you. There's not a whole lot to skip there, Wally, but go ahead anyway.
So according to the teacher contract, I'm supposed to notify you anytime that some of our high school sizes get over 28 or above. So as of right now, we have one Spanish class at 29. The other two we're just not balanced. The other ones are 15 and 13. But at a school of our size, when you have singletons, class only offered once, sometimes when kids are having, picking this singleton, then it funnels kids into a particular class. So I know Mr. Feldman will look at semester and see if that can balance out a little bit. That one's at 29. We have 4 real high-level classes that are over that 28 threshold: honors sophomore English, honors juniors English, honors senior English, and AP World History. They're all a little bit over that. When you're putting together a master's schedule, though, and you're looking at you have this many semesters for teachers to teach, you know, if you go the other direction, when you've got a class of 29 and then you go 2 sections, 15 and 14, well, obviously now that's going to bump up all the regular ed classes that go with that. So in my personal opinion, these are all doable numbers, but I did want to report them to you. And then we have one elective of recreational activities. It's also at 29. So those are the classes right now as we head into second semester that are at that threshold of 28 or above.
How are the teachers feeling?
Mr. Feldman?
Fine. I mean, they recognize that, like Mr. DeMarco said, if we split an honors group and we take that 29 and it's now 14 and 15, that means that their regular senior, junior English is going to be at 26.
It's going to
And those honor
break those
students
up.
are typically pretty well structured as
Right.
it is.
That was gonna be my next question. Kids are handling it okay, but.
Thank you for that question. The potential solar project update. So here's where we're at right now. So our solar subcommittee and myself did agree that we are put in a full application for the grant to the state of Minnesota. We also picked an RFP. If it were, so right now we're not committed to anything. I want everybody to understand that. We're not committed to anything. That will have to come to the full board for the will of the board when we get to that point. But the company that we did choose to go through, if the project follows through, is Solar Connection, which is a branch off of Matthew from La Crosse in Alaska. They've done solar projects on, I believe, 5 buildings in the school district of La Crosse, West Salem School District, and they've also done 1 or 2 city projects here. And that was what our subcommittee and myself agreed was who we went through. If we get to that point, that would be Solar Connection. So, and to throw a couple other things out at you right now, just so you can get some numbers, and we'll come back and we'll talk about this later to see if we get the grant. But looking at about $250,000 for the whole project that would be on the roof of the elementary school. If we get the project from the state, that would be half of it, 50%, about $125,000. Okay, the remaining $125,000 were for sure eligible for 30% of direct federal tax credits. We may be actually available for up to 40% direct federal tax credits. And there are 2 other private companies that if we went through that we would actually apply for grants there. They're both around $25,000, and they're actually companies that other districts in our area have had good success with. So if we decide to go this way, a worst case scenario would be about a little over $50,000 out of our coffers. And that would take about 3.6 years to get to the break-even point where then we would start making money. So after 3.6 years, then let's say that our roof lasts 18 more years, then we would have 14.6 years where we're actually making a profit. And in a best case scenario, where we were able to get other private grants, the project will cost us next to nothing. And then we would start making money almost immediately. Okay, that is all still to come once we hear back from the state if we were awarded that grant. If we so move forward, as we sit here today, we are committed to nothing. Teamworks Refresh update. Julie Babe brought back. I brought back Julie Babe, who worked through our original Teamworks, where there was, from what I'm hearing from teachers and school board members and everything, a tremendous amount of work went into this. And so she gave me homework along with the other leadership going into the day that we brought her back. Okay? The day that we brought her back then, so I had gotten the history of Teamworks, I'd gotten the history of the strategic plan, I'd gotten all that work and done that before she came. She then, that day, that morning, we had the high school conference room covered with paper, and we went through and we looked at what is still relevant? What is still something that we would want to move forward? What is something we would cross off? What is something the district had already accomplished? Here's what I wanted to tell you. This is my personal opinion, okay? But the Teamworks was super culture heavy. Culture is extremely important. And I want to keep, as we move forward and I bring things back to you, I want to keep the culture parts of it, but it was also very data light. And so I would like to start incorporating for our district goals, our site goals, and within our strategic plan, some actual data points to look at, for example, improving test math scores and how do we get there? Improving reading scores and how do we get there? And so I would like our goals moving forward along with our strategic plan to be a mixture of culture, which is extremely important. I think it's extremely important, along also now with data points and how we can improve as a district. So I wanted to let you know that that's where I'm looking to head. We have our next Teamworks meeting on Thursday, July 8th, or Thursday, January 8th. And what I've asked the group to think about is some of those things that we could look at that are realistic and would be goal setting for us as a district from a data standpoint. So, and I'll take questions on any of these afterwards. So superintendent AA search update, you already saw the name that got updated and put into the consent agenda. I just want to tell you from July 1st to now, it was a whirlwind for me, probably all the way into October. July, August, September, all the way into October, it was like every day we have more and more information on the district. And some days, a lot of days I go home, my head was spinning. And finally, it seemed like everything kind of slowed down a little bit in October. And I'm feeling better now. Days and weeks are still stressful. There's still a lot of information, but I feel it's not quite what it was that first 3 months or 3.5 months. The reason I'm saying that is because honestly, Ms. Lenzer was extremely important for my transition. As I started here, moved states, moved districts, moved into a new position, and I'm really sad to see her go. I'm very happy for her opportunity, but I wanted to bring up this meeting in public how important she was to me in this transition and being able to move into this role as superintendent. So Mandy, I appreciate all that you did, and I wanted to let you know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we did interviews on Friday, and I followed up with our top candidate with another interview. I felt good at that point. I didn't know if we'd quite get to the point where I could bring it to the board tonight, but other applicants, I was able to personally contact our other people that's never fun, but they respect and they should get that. So everybody heard directly from me that interviewed, and the background check came back well, and to the point where then this afternoon, that's when I asked Ms. Lenzer to add that to the addendum, which eventually became the consent agenda. So Teresa will be sitting over there in January, and you'll have an opportunity to meet her. Mandy is going to be a huge help to her as she transitions here, and there will be a couple times where I'll ask Mandy to come back. Mandy might even be sitting next to Teresa in that January meeting and trying to help her as she transitions into a new position. So that's where we are with the superintendent AA search, and I appreciate the committee that we put together for the interview committee, and it's an important position. So I know Teresa is excited and nervous with that. So all right, I will take questions off any of those areas. Do you have any for me?
Questions for Wally?
What's your goal for the strategic plan to kind of be ready to not necessarily refresh, but like to deliver to the public?
I would love to, before I bring it to the public, I'm gonna bring it to you.
Yeah.
The spring of 26. We're not gonna draw that out forever. I wanna make sure that I'm working as a team with you. And then we would bring that out to our staff and our community.
If you all have some ideas now, let him know now. So that's something that be incorporated. When we bring back an almost finished product, then we start chirping in with it. It gets to be messy. So if you guys have passionate things you'd want to be measured or things that are strategic, let him know now. All right. Any other questions for Wally?
How many applicants did we have for the assistant position?
I can say that. I can say that, can I? Am I
I
allowed
think so.
to say that? Okay.
Number of applicants.
I believe, yeah, I would not do that. I believe we had 9 applicants and we invited 6 for an interview.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be,
No,
I always want to make sure that I can say stuff out
It's a big
in public, so.
Any other questions for Wally? Jordan? Yes, there we go, buddy. All right.
Before I forget about them, there are 2 quick things I wanted to add on the front of this that weren't in here. One, I was just made aware of, Mr. Johnson, who many of you might not know, but is a former teacher of mine from Logan, but is working here with us this year. His industrial tech class, am I correct in saying that? Industrial tech, right? Yeah. They've been working on a project and he made these little wooden Christmas trees for all of our special ed students. So they gave those out this week. So that was really cool for him to do that. And then because I'm here and I can showcase it a little bit, tomorrow night, for the first time in quite a while, we're going to have a holiday ensemble that's playing at Torby Lights for all Full Scores. So that is students all the way from 6th grade through 12th grade. And we have about 45 kids going. So, and it's completely voluntary that they're volunteering their time to do that. So I'm excited to have them there and do that.
Will that be up on the stage?
It'll be on the stage at the warming house, the Rotary Lights. It'll be piped out to all the light scores. So they'll be able to hear us playing stuff from 6 to 6:30 if any of you are interested in attending that. All right, now on to the stuff that was submitted. So first off, Travis, he is just so passionate about this conservation group. And it is just so cool to see the kids getting into as much as they are. Obviously, you can see in the photos here. But they have a snowshoeing adventure they went on. Obviously, snow was still present at that time. It's starting to melt now, but they got out there and the kids just had a great time being outside. I think that's really the crux of what Travis was trying to create with that. And he's been loving it and sharing that with the kids. Discovery Pre-K. So I'm gonna just read these off because I don't read anything else. I can read them, I think. So holy cow, these turkeys have been having so much fun learning about farms using the new indoor monkey bars that we got with the Foundation Apple Grant. So obviously the Apple Grant's going a long way to help kids have a great time. Look at that. Riding, striding bikes, and working hard with eyedroppers. So you see some of those activities there. This next one, as obviously I think the pictures describe more than the text, but Mrs. Judy's 4K had a silly face competition. They all submitted some pictures for that and it seemed like they had a great time. Kindergarten. Kindergarten loved playing, reading, and coloring with their 8th grade buddies. I know that was kind of highlighted in both the middle school and elementary update, but those obviously I work with middle school kids and they talked about it. They came back and told me about it, so I know they had a great time getting to do that. First grade, that was the fall feast. Again, another thing that was highlighted, but just something that is such a great experience for the kids. They got to eat Charlie Brown snacks, made turkeys in disguise, and even wrote on our desk with some fun. Nice. Look at, so they actually got to go do that. You can see all those pictures. The kids engaged with the staff members there. More events in December with 12-day winter break countdown. They had parents in the classrooms almost every day helping out with the events. On Friday, they are in classrooms to decorate cookies, disguise a gingerbread, and balloons. Second grade participated in junior achievement lessons, learning about communities. third grade. Yeah, they got to go see the Newsies, which was just such a cool experience. That showcase for all the students to go see all the work that goes into that. They enjoyed the school-wide movie activity, and then children's book author Jolene Goodman came to visit and shared her books. She also happened to be the grandma to one of the third graders, so that was a fun time for them and be able to showcase some family stuff there too. Veterans Day speaker was Marine Corps veteran Bud Thomas, made a special visit to the third grade to answer some questions. Before fall break, third graders participated in fun science experiments and STEM challenges with cranberries. Fourth graders got to do some magnet science, and there's some more photos from that veterans program as well. There's a little showcase for the arts classes that were going on, stuff they were working on. Obviously, the big highlights with the music was Newsies, and then they got to come, see that. And first graders practicing rhythm patterns with drums right there. Students of the month, kindergarten was Cameron Miner, first grade Macy Bull, second grade, I don't know these kids, so I apologize for getting these wrong. Aiden Ritter, third grade Logan Lucas, and fourth grade was Lucy students of the month for middle school, Late Egger, Holland Crosby, Ruxin McCount, and Alexa Bachman. So, then there's just count out, that's all I got for me.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Review informational items posted for your perusing, but we're going to be talking about the revised budget down in action items. So if anyone has any questions now, you can ask, but we're going to be talking about shortly in the action items. All right. Consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Damn near their page. Motion's been made by Eric and seconded by Brandon to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll proceed to vote to approve the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda passes. Moving on to action items. International travel program proposal. Do we have a Brittany? Hi, Brittany.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Brittany McGuire, I know most of you. Thank you for taking the time to look over our travel program. So what I'm hoping to do is take kids to London in summer of 2027. I just had a group of kids this last summer go to England and Scotland, and I actually have two adults in the room that came with me too, so they can attest to how much fun it was. It was an adventure, and we all made it back, so it's good. But yeah, this particular trip is more geared toward theater students. It is called Curtain Time in London, and it focuses on the West End, which is like the Broadway of London. It's where all of the big fancy productions are. And so, yeah, the plan on there is to see 3 shows. We also will visit Stratford upon Avon, which is Shakespeare's birthplace, Anne Hathaway's cottage, and the kids get to participate in a few different theater workshops, which is really exciting. Yeah, and then the itinerary is on there if you want to read through all of the different things. It's a lot of sightseeing. It's a lot of just experiencing a new culture and a new place. And then it is focused, since it's a theater trip, on like seeing theater shows and things like that. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, the document kind of goes through all of that. I don't need to necessarily read it to you, but yeah, it's a 9-day trip. I did convince them to let us fly to lacrosse this time, so that's an adventure. We had to fly to Minneapolis this past summer, and we got back at like 11:30 p.m. And so poor Allison and I in the car, she talked to me the whole way home, so I wouldn't fall asleep. But yeah, that's really all I've done.
Our age is limited,
Typically I do high school just because.
but 9th through 12 is
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Is the price on here too then?
It isn't on there, but I can tell you it's a little steep. For kids, it's about 5,200. But it includes everything. So it's got their airfare, hotel, food, all the shows, all the sightseeing, all the things that they do. And the nice thing about starting it so early is that they do a monthly payment, so the kids can pay in installments. I tell them that they can, work for it. They can get a job. They can help parents pay for it. And
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve by Darcy, seconded by Eric. Is there any discussion? I think it's wonderful. I hear these other schools, the foreign things they do and where they get to go. So I love this. So, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who would dare say nay? Okay, motion passes unanimously. The Certified Staff Master Agreement 2025 to 2027.
Move to approve.
Approved by Darcy, seconded by Danny. Any discussion?
Oh, no, we didn't go back and look at enrollment.
I didn't really skip it. I was minimizing it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Did you have something to expand on there? Okay.
What's that?
I was just asking if she had anything to add to that, so.
I had some questions on behavior we can go back to.
All right, let's go with this one though. We're the Certified Master Agreement.
What was the final percentage up?
2% to 2.9%.
So 2% the first year and 2.9 the second year.
Which I think was very comparable to other districts. Very comparable.
Right in line.
Any other discussion on the master agreement? All in favor of certified master agreement for 25-27, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mr. Welper, I wanted to thank three groups here. I wanted to thank the board members that were on. That is a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort. And so I'm appreciative to the board members and negotiations. I'm appreciative to the teacher negotiating group. And I'm appreciative to union leadership who then explained it to their group. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Revised budget update. Now this is where I'm going back to up on the top where we can review now because it was going to be a part of a larger thing here. So do you want to discuss, Julie, start with the revised budget update?
Yes, that'd be
Okay,
great.
and then we'll go from there.
So, right, you have it up on the screen. I'll just go with a few notes about it. So in FY '25, we had to add QComp to a restricted fund. So that is added, and that increases our general fund restricted dollars and decreases our general fund unassigned dollars by about $250,000. If any dollars were not used in previous years, they were rolled right into the general fund unassigned. But now that the dollars are held as restricted dollars per state statute, at the end of the year, that will be restricted and not just go into the unassigned account. So that does lessen our unassigned dollars. We are diligently using restricted funds more than unassigned funds, resulting in about 248,000 more restricted funds in the revised budget than the adopted budget. So that adds 248,000 back into the unassigned balance from the adopted, again, to this first revision. General fund revenue is currently showing a decrease of 42,000 compared to adopted budget. This is due to a decrease in local revenue, for instance, interest earnings. The general fund expenses are currently showing a decrease of 629,000. This is due to moving dollars per the auditor to Fund 6. There were dollars in Fund 1 at the end of the year, and the auditor told us we had to statutorily put those in Fund 6. So instead of that revenue being an unassigned and being spent out of Fund 1, that money got moved to the restricted Fund 6 and will be spent on Fund 6. And I'll talk about that again in a little bit. The Fund 2 revenues and expenses remain the same and steady compared to the adopted, so minimal changes were needed to the fund balance. Minimal changes were made to the fund balance. Fund 4 community education revenue expenses remain the same and steady compared to the adopted. I do want to note that we are increasing the fund balance by 42,000 due to year-end FY 25 coming in more positive than we thought. So that was great news. Fund 6 will see expenses increase by 1.5 million due to the moving of dollars for the auditor, which I just talked to, from the general fund, and having the remaining balance of FY 25 to spend in FY 26 for the miscellaneous projects, including the bathroom remodel. So it's just gonna be a shift from 1 to 6. Total budgeted revenues are gonna increase from 37,000 from adopted, and expenses are gonna increase about 957,000 from adopted compared to revised budget, again, due to those reasons I've already talked about. The revised shows an increase in our general fund unassigned fund balance from 5.26% or 812,000 to 5.51% or 815,000. So please note that our starting balance in the general fund for adopted was 902,000. But after the audit and moving the dollars to Fund 6, we had to start the revised budget at 488,000. So that is about $424,000 lower that we started our revised budget with than what we thought. But even with that adjustment, we were still able to cut more expenditures due to the diligent work of all of our administrators, all of our staff, and increase the fund balance by 0.25%. Doesn't sound like that much, but it really is when you look at the change we had to make from Fund 1 to Fund 6. Again, this is an early revision. We're gonna wanna do another revised budget again. We did 2 last year. They were a little closer together. These are further apart. But we are really looking, all of us, at everything within our budget, not only for the future, but also still in the current, so that we can try to get this unassigned balance higher yet this year. We're working hard, we're trying, so this is where we're sitting at right now.
Thank you, Julie.
Well done.
And everybody working on it.
That was actually kind of positive.
It was.
No.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, that's better. Last time it was not. Okay. Questions on the budget? Okay.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Darcy. There's been a motion to approve by Darcy.
I second.
Page seconds. Is there any other discussion on the revised budget update and the approval? Questions? Move to approve the revised budget update. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Revised budget update passes. Now then, to go back to this thing up on the top, any questions on the enrollment or student behavior before we go to one of the last action items?
Well, it was nice that we upped our enrollment.
Yeah, it went up a bit.
No behavior.
No, I submitted mine after
Yep.
Friday.
Here it is.
Friday was.
Thank you, Darcy. That was my question.
You're
All
welcome.
right. We were
Yeah.
It was so cool. Okay, no.
Friday was the 12th. Well, that is supposed to be included, so I didn't submit mine until this week.
This will go down in your permanent record, Jake.
Not quite as
Wow.
positive.
We would add,
Can
we
you
would
go
add
back
more.
up? Was there more in?
It's really too bad.
No, okay. Yes, there was. Elementary schools changed.
We had more behavioral referrals at district office in high school.
That's kind of funny, well, yeah, well done. All right.
That was Mandy, wasn't it?
All right. Yes. Any other questions on the data? All right. Final levy certification of payable 2026 property taxes. Anyone want to talk on that, or are we just going to approve that? Need a motion?
Come on, man.
Move to approve.
Eric moves to approve the final levy certification of payable property taxes. Is there a second? Darcy seconds. Any discussion on the final levy certification of payable 2026 property taxes? Hearing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. E. I need to read this. I apologize, but I'm being told I have no choice. Resolution directing administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and reasons therefore for the 25-26 year. It may be necessary to reduce faculty due to discontinuance of positions, lack of pupils in certain programs, and or funding constraints. Program reductions, if any, will be presented at future school board meetings. This is a first step necessary in a timetable required by the state statute to consider and then make certified staffing reductions. We do this multiple years. This is something that I think might have got maybe missed along the line, but it's something we have to do. I'm sorry. Move to approve. Move to approve by Darcy, seconded by Danny. Is there any discussion?
In the discussion,
Oh, Andy Dufresne. That's all I got for that's my own Morgan Freeman. All right. What are you doing? Huh?
We may have to, this would actually be for then the 26-27 school year.
Oh, okay. So I will do it.
We
I'm
revised the
not-
motion, I'm
yes.
sorry.
I will revise the motion without reading it all again, that it would state in that first line, 26-27 year. I need a.
So moved.
Okay. The amended motion was approved and seconded by Eric and by Brandon. All in favor of the approved motion on the resolution for the 26-27 school year signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Move to adjourn and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are done.
I think there's some signatures needed here. Wade, you have to sign these thank yous. Who's the clerk?
Oh, yes, and I will grab that thing for you. Wait, Mandy, were you gonna print that tomorrow?
I already printed it.
Oh, awesome, good. Are you signing? Oh, you're not. You signed it.
Well,
It's so good.
figure Wade.
So, oh, Wade will, okay.
I chair and the clerk.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was the chair.
Just see your face in that.
Because clerk, that's all I'm gonna remember you now. I hope you're happy. What? I'm signing as clerk.
Yes.
Hey, I just asked Wade a question about.
Thank you so much.
Big W.
There's one